Hey everybody, welcome back to the Airsoftology Q&A show, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch. It is finally starting to escape chairsofting. If you're watching this in the future, I think we're slowly emerging from the 2020 COVID-19 summer kind of thing. So hopefully things will continue on. We're all doing our best to wash our hands, wear masks, and keep social distancing at this point in time, and we can keep progressing and going and playing some airsoft. I think this is great because it's a non-contact sport. It allows us to get out and do it. Also, real quick, this is your show, so your questions come from last week's comment section below, so put them down below. Also, if you have a video of the week you want to highlight next week, or like, well, this week's already taken, obviously, put it down in the comment section below. Also, if you want to support the show, I've got a bunch of morale patches. Let's try to get this thing in focus. There we go. That's the latest one. This is the John Wick style dog, like the pit bull. I've got a bunch of these tactical dogs, not just this one, but like corgis and Shibas and German Shepherds and all kinds of stuff on the web store, all shipping worldwide. And it goes to support the channel. And of course, also you get something really cool in return. So aside from all that, let's just dive on into what you're really here for. And that's your questions in the Airsoft Megastore mail call. Snake452006 writes, hey, thanks for getting more videos rolling. I got a question. What's your favorite cosplay loadout you've seen on the field? Well, there are a lot of them out there. I've seen, well, John Wick ones. I've seen guys wearing the suit thing. I've seen people doing the Army of Two, which is kind of dated at this point. I've seen a lot of different stuff. Juggernauts from like the old Call of Duty series, some of the older versions of it, like the full bomb suit and all that. I think, though, the best one I've ever seen, absolutely best, is someone dressed up full on Naruto and literally was running around the field Naruto run style, trying to get kills like up close. Like, I guess you can't really do it now, but do like knife kills, right? That probably was the winning cake for me when it comes to like people doing cosplay. I think when it comes to cosplay airsoft, I really feel like what Jet Desert Fox is doing with Desert Fox events and how they encourage people to wear whatever they want really is one of the pinnacles of modern day airsoft here in 2020, where people are able to express themselves in a non-tactical way and not feel like, oh, you're not wearing the coolest, loadout and you're trying to do this impression, which don't get me wrong, I love doing the impressions too. I absolutely love it. But it lets everybody from every walk of life. Another place that I think is doing a fantastic job is Chris over at Bala Hack. He's doing his stuff with all of his big events like Rev and all this stuff. He really has some fantastic people coming out, and like he has one of the events like very Fallout series, right? And kind of like has the bunkers and the vaults and all that kind of thing going on, this whole vibe and like a currency, in-game currency. It's really about kind of like more of like LARPing than airsoft, or kind of a hybrid of both. That really encourages some fantastic, like post-apocalyptic gameplay, loadouts, and cosplay. I think both of them are doing very well. Now, again, these are both in the States. These are ones that I'm familiar with, and I'm really curious on your side. What do you have? Now, I take it back. There's probably one more cosplay. It's definitely not appropriate for kids. Just if you don't know what it is, don't Google it. I was at the Crytek Owners Convention event 2 years ago in Chiba, Japan. It's outside of Tokyo. I was invited. I've been invited every year the past few years. Absolutely love going. And last year, the guy wasn't there this last year, but the year before, it was Tinga Man. And he was literally dressed up head to toe like Tinga Man, and he had like the Tingas were the grenades on him, and he had a Crytek, the little shorty, the PDW version, and it was painted up like a Tinga. And if you probably shouldn't be saying this, just don't bother Googling if you don't know what Tinga is. Anyway, I digress. That may actually beat the Naruto one for me because it was just absolutely hilarious if you know and are in the know. Anyway, I'm curious, what are your favorite cosplay loadouts? Do you run cosplay when you play airsoft? I know a lot of people integrate airsoft into their cosplay costumes and everything when they go to the conventions, but I'm talking the other way around, actually wearing the gear, as the question here is, and running a game, like playing in your cosplay outfit. So let me know in the comment section below, what, if any, is what do you run, or your favorite? Master Chief 1 writes, what are your thoughts on elbow, knee, and slider pads? To be honest, I won't. It's rare I play airsoft without a set of knee pads. I am talking extremely rare. I do play a bit aggressively. I can be a little clumsy at the same time. So having a set of knee pads for me is super, super critical. So my thoughts on it are near necessity, to be honest. There've been a few times I have forgot to get the knee pads, forgot to bring them or whatever. And I've greatly regretted not having them because of falling, hurting myself, doing something. And then, I didn't like hurt myself super bad, but just enough to be like, ugh. Or you're trying to like get in a cool position and you're like rocks digging into your knees if you're playing outside. If you're playing indoors, obviously the ability to be able to drop to your knees and take shots or peek around corners and not put a lot of stress on your kneecaps and your legs. And let's face it, I'm not the youngest guy on the battlefield by any stretch of the imagination. So I do need some protection. As for slider pads, I'm not really much of a Speedsoft kind of player, so I'm not gonna be doing that. If you guys don't know, it's like, so you actually run and like power slide, like kind of comes from the paintball world, from like the speedball side of paintball. People will be able to like run up and power slide in, get behind bunkers, get the shots off, things like that. So those things I won't run because I just don't play that style personally. That's just not how I play. I'm not that athletic when it comes to Airsoft. I'm a little more tactical, a little more watching the corners and angles and things like that. Play like kind of mid to front, not all the way in the front where I'm like the first one in, like rushing and stuff. I'll leave that for the players that love to play that speed, that really fast style Airsoft. As for elbow pads, I've kind of had a love-hate relationship. They do get in the way, like when you're trying to get your shots. I found that a lot of them, especially if you wear them over your clothes, like the kind you slide on or Velcro on or whatever, those can get in the way and impede a little bit of movement for me getting like tight shots. I just personally don't like them as much. I have tried some of the different shirts, like the Cry type shirts and even Cry itself shirts with the built-in elbow pads. I keep finding myself not using them. So for elbow pads, probably not. It's not something that often. I mean, there have been a few times where I've really hit myself pretty hard and been like, oh, I should probably wish I would have had those, but not normally. My exception to that is I do have a set of their Empire branded, like padded slide on kind of forearm protection that always kind of goes almost down to your elbow pads area, and it's for paintball. So when you're shooting, if you're playing Speedsoft or like indoor CQB, which is what I like to play, not really like a Speedsoft speed, you're always exposing just your face, which I always wear full face protection, and then the front of your forearm, right? And this pad kind of covers that. So when you take your incoming rounds, because that's all you're going to expose, right? If you're going to be trading shots and peeking out around corners, all you're going to show your knuckles, which I always wear gloves, and then the forearm. So I started wearing these forearm protectors, and I found it was nice because I would get hit there and it wouldn't like bleed or leave horrible marks here on your forearm. That was something really nice to have, and I do keep those and I do still use those because I find them very useful, especially if I'm playing in very, very tight arenas where I know the engagement distance is going to be up close. Because even then, like a gun that shoots 300 feet per second, like, not much, right? Not much at all. You're like talking about like 100 meters a second, right? 110 meters a second. That they're still going to they can make you bleed at that distance. So having those pads, I can put them on and take them off between games if it gets too hot, is a real winner for me. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, the more protection, the better. You can play more aggressive or you can be more protected on the field. But I think the necessities are gloves, knee pads for me, and full face protection. And then the rest, I can kind of go with and without, depending on where and what I'm playing. Sean Millam writes, hey, Airsoftology, a lot of protection ratings are a one-hit and replace deal, and was wondering if this applies to eye protection for Airsoft as well. As a follow-up, do you have any eye protection brands you trust? Thanks for producing great content. So I'll link to the ANSI rating and things like that, but when you talk about eye protection ratings, most of them are multi-hit rated. So they are going to be rated for multiple projectiles. Some are single projectile, like some of the ratings are. Some are multi-hit ratings. But when you look at some of the ratings, they're going to be rated for a projectile far different than Airsoft. So that's why I really feel like from a multi-hit standpoint, Airsoft, if you're going with something that's ANSI rated, or even up above that, the mil-spec rating, which is usually what I'm wearing. Most of my eye protection is going to be the mil-spec related stuff, or at least absolute bare minimum the ANSI rated, because that's what fields require anyway. They are designed for a much bigger projectile. I mean, some of the military ones are like a 22 caliber, like kind of sharp beveled edged metal projectile, right? And that's definitely not, an airsoft pellet. It's plastic and a lot lighter, and it's round all the way around. So you're going to be fine. To be honest, if you're getting something that's ANSI rated or better, you're going to be fine for multiple hits. Typically, when I replace my eye protection, I've never had an issue ever with any of the good branded stuff like Dye, like Empire, like Smith Optics. And these are some brands you're asking questions like, who do I recommend? Even some of the glasses like ASG sells, Vulcan sells a very similar model as well. Those are all fantastic fantastic eye protection that for me has taken multiple hits. I mean, I get popped in the eyes because, again, like I was saying in a previous question, because again, you're peeking out and you're only going to show if you're playing right, typically probably just part of your face and maybe your arm and maybe your knuckles, and that's it. You're only peeking, right? You're not exposing your whole body. So typically you're going to be shot in the face. I get shot in the face a lot. That's why I wear good face protection. And when it comes to eye pro, yeah, I think you're okay. I think you can have multiple hits on an airsoft, from an airsoft pellet on something that's anti-Z rated or better. Again, my personal experience is I've never had an issue. I've been shot multiple times. I replace them when they start getting like scuff and scratch marks or like hit marks in my field of vision where it affects my ability to see and play. Then I will actually replace those at that point, or they get scuffed or scratched because I dropped them or something stupid, or I didn't put them in their protective bag appropriately. Then I'll make that swap. But until then, I keep running them. And for me, I've never had a problem as long as you're looking at those official ratings. All right, that's it for questions this week, which means, as always, it is time for the Code Red headset video recommendation of the week. And this one is interesting. This is actually someone I know, PhoenixFeatherAirsoft. He's actually covering a topic that normally I don't cover specific things about a field. I'm glad he doesn't mention the field name here, and I'm going to kind of go into what this topic is. But it's something I've seen before, and I think a lot of you have either witnessed or have been a part of in some sort or fashion, I guess, in Airsoft. And I'm curious, maybe you haven't. So in his case, he was banned from a field before he even went to the field, right? And I'll let him tell his story. If you guys want to see the whole story, I have a link to the video, of course, in the corner, as I always do, and down in the description box below. So he actually was reaching out to this field. It was opening after COVID-19 and wanted to get tickets. And they had like a buy ticket now button, and the ticket button didn't work. And when he reached out, the contact on the other side was like, well, read the last post. And he's like, well, I've been reading the post and there's nothing there. I just have a question. How do I buy tickets? And he asked a couple times, and he's like, well, is there a way to buy? And then the actual representative of the company was like, well, you're banned then. Forget it. And he's like, what? And like, I just asked where to buy tickets, right? And again, he wasn't even asking as Phoenix Feather. So no one knew he was a YouTuber or anybody. And he had visited this field many times before. He has gameplay apparently from this field as well on his channel and has a pretty good working relationship with them. So the representative of the field that was answering the Facebook messages was basically like, well, if you can't read the question, if you can't read the answers, you're not allowed to the field, period. And he's like, well, I can't even find this thing. Well, come to find out, it was like on the timeline and not actually a post on their page. So it wasn't clear. He was like referring to a post that was buried on the timeline. And it was like the very last thing about tickets going on sale late in the week. And of course, it was late in the week for him. So it was like this weird, poor customer service experience. But this begs the question for you. What have you seen at fields that is totally unfair? Like, I mean, he even got banned before he even set foot on the field. He got banned through Facebook asking a simple question. What have you seen that's been the rudeness of a field? Please don't tell me your field name. I don't want to hear it. Please don't use real names or anything like that in there. But I'm just curious, have you experienced this? Have you been on that where the field owner's like, you know, or the field staff has been very rude or biased against you or towards someone else, or just made some prejudicial decisions based on that? I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section below. And also, if you have a video of your own channel or a channel you love, make sure to put it down there and vote those up every single week. I will do my best to get them on a future show or next week. So anyway, that's it. I know it's a lot of questions this week. I'm looking forward to seeing what your answers are down there in the comment section below. But until next week, go out, play some Airsoft, have some fun. Check out the web store for some of the cool new patches here, including the JW Pit Bull here. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.